Ladies and gents, welcome back. I didn't know whether to start this story by telling you what the cause was or the result was. But, well, I guess we'll get into the result because, well, they're trying to hide the cause. And we're going to get into that really soon. Here we have it from CBC News. Emergencies Act Commission granted extension to finish writing report. Still expected next month. February 20th deadline for and this is the Public Order Emergency Commission, the Emergencies Act inquiry, you may know it as. Its deadline was February 20th for the government to table the report in Parliament. But there was also a February 6th deadline for the government, Trudeau's cabinet, to get it in secret ahead of time. Now we have all kinds of other reports here. We have here from CTV News, Commission probing of use of Emergencies Act for 2022 trucker protests granted an extension. Ottawa, the commission investigating the federal government's use of the Emergencies Act to quell the trucker protests last winter in Ottawa, has asked for more time to complete its report. A government source who was granted anonymity to discuss, of course, matters not yet public, says the Order in Council establishing the Public Order Emergency Commission will be modified to change the February 6th deadline to submit its report to the government. The source, however, says the commission will abide by the deadline imposed by the Emergencies Act, which requires the report to be submitted to Parliament and released to the public within 360 days of the Emergency Act declaration being revoked. Now we're going to go over to, this is Global News reporting on essentially the same thing. They all share their same information. They published right around the same time, and it's all the same. The commission has requested more time to complete the report, so Order in Council will be amended and the report will not be delivered to the government on February 6th. The report will be released by the legislated deadline, the government source told Global News. The source spoke on the background to discuss the matter. The spokesperson for the commission confirmed the POEC has revised the Privy Council office that it is not able to provide its report in both official languages to the government by February 6th. It's not immediately clear if the report will still be delivered to cabinet first before being distributed to the parliament. Well, it would be on the same day, right? If it's the 20th, it's the 20th for everybody. The commission, headed by former appellate court Justice Paul Rouleau, held 6 weeks of public hearings last fall that heard from Prime Minister Trudeau, cabinet officials, police, protesters, Ottawa residents. Several experts later offered testimony on rights and freedoms, social media, and other issues as part of the commission's investigation. Trudeau invoked the Emergencies Act on February 14th, 2022, for the first time since it became law in 1988, after protesters associated with the Freedom Convoy blockaded downtown Ottawa. Well, yeah, that's what emergency lanes open is not a blockade, but well, this is how they're reporting on it. Ottawa and key border crossings, causing weeks of disruptions to Canada's trade corridors, businesses, and residents in those communities. Well, what do you think a strike is? The emergency powers were then revoked on the 23rd after protesters and blockades were cleared. No, it was actually invoked after those things were cleared. Anyway, that was all in the commission. Now, why did they do this? Why the big question is, why is the media not reporting on why this happened? There was actually a tremendous outcry from the public because of what was actually written into it later. So the Institute for Freedom and Justice wrote this letter on the 27th of January, 2023 to the Honorable Paul Rouleau, Public Order Commission, stating, well, all these letters always start with a bunch of, "You're so great. Thanks for being who you are." Anyway, gets into the content of the report and then also the timing of the report. And this is where it gets to be a controversial issue. The public inquiry and the work of the commission is a matter of statutory obligation imposed on the government by Section 63 of the Act. It requires a final report to be laid before each House of Parliament in accordance with Section 63. Now, that's in the act itself. Now, why the date of February 6th? Well, here's where it comes into play. Although a provision was later inserted in the order on the recommendation of the Prime Minister that the Government of Council should receive a report in advance of the House of Parliament, the Act makes no such express requirement. So the date of February 6th was only inserted later at the behest of the Prime Minister in order to get the report 2 weeks ahead of time. So what? They can spin the results of it, so they could influence the results of it. This is all in secret. This is something that raises a lot of eyebrows here. At the outset of the public inquiry, you said that its focus would remain squarely on the decisions of the federal government, why it declared an emergency, how did it use its powers, and were those actions appropriate? One of the outcomes of the public inquiry investigated by the Act is that the report may be critical of the government or its agencies. The potential for such an outcome explains the requirement of the Act that the report be laid only before the Houses of Parliament and publicly viewed. This is what the whole point of transparency is. There's no transparency in 2 weeks of the report and scrutiny in secret. There's no transparency there. Submission in advance of an advance report to the Governor and Council, and thereby the Cabinet, including the Prime Minister, carries a high risk of criticism concerning the transparency and integrity of the public inquiry process. This may result in a loss of confidence by Canadians in the fairness of the Commission and may mire the final report, the final part of the public inquiry in controversy. So this would cause a lot of controversy down the road. And this letter is respectfully asking Paul Rouleau to kibosh this whole idea of giving the Prime Minister advanced knowledge on what the report is all about. And it didn't stop here. There was lots and lots of social media outcry. Here's a video from TikTok with Chris Barber in it.
Hey guys, absolutely massive news. This is so important, okay? The Rouleau Commission, okay? They are going to give their report to Cabinet and Trudeau before anyone else gets to see it. Does that sound like transparency to you? I don't know. It sounds a little bit like corruption. Please tell me what you guys think in the comments, because this is absolutely massive. Everyone should be outspoken about this. Have a nice day, guys.
Absolutely. Thanks to Vesper D for sharing that one with me. We have Eva Chipiak also saying, thank you, IFJ Canada, for raising this with the POEC. Canadians have been clear. Trudeau should not get a secret copy of the POEC report. Canadians deserve transparency, and the EA, the Emergencies Act, demands transparency. It's in the Act. This is what it's supposed to be. Tom Marazzo saying, Trudeau said the Public Order Emergency Commission would be transparent. BS. Trudeau's cabinet will have secret viewing of the EA inquiry verdict ahead of time. This is insane. This is insane to think this is something that we can sit back and watch. This is a parody account for Justin Trudeau's ego, saying, I've been told I'll be able to see the findings from the Public Order Emergency Commission weeks before the Canadian public. That's good for democracy. My government will have lots of time to brief the media on how to report the findings so that nothing looks bad for me during the next election. Who else do we have? We have Marty up north's fact-checking twin brother saying, I totally agree. Trudeau should not be getting the secret copy of the Public Order Emergency Commission report from Paul Rouleau, even though he probably got one at his family Christmas dinner, since they're related. That's a little bit of nepotism that is overlooked in this whole situation. Evidently, Trudeau's, I guess, aunt married Rouleau's brother. I mean, so they're nephew and uncle by marriage in relation here. Can't make this up, folks. It's a big country. It's a big country, big enough that you could find a judge that isn't directly related to you. This is oh goodness. Yeah, it's a national disgrace as concerned Canadian that Trudeau will have the opportunity to view the POEC findings on the invoking of the Emergencies Act before Canadian citizens will. They will have ample time to implement their disinformation agenda with their aligned mainstream media to attempt to sway public opinion. Now, the question is, why wouldn't they report on this? So we have here CTV News, we have Global here, and we have CBC, all not reporting on the fact that it's pretty obvious. It was public outcry that made it so that they changed the date. They didn't even say in their articles that the date was actually put in there afterwards at the behest of the Prime Minister. And this is where the controversy lies, and this is where the distrust in government and media comes from. Not getting a whole truth. Giving somebody a half truth is where you really lose them. You're really going to lose them, because as soon as they find out the whole truth, they'll ask you, why didn't you tell me the whole truth? We want the whole truth and nothing but the truth. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think of this whole situation, and why the media is not coming clean about why it is they've changed the date for this. Granted an extension. They're not granting an extension. All they're doing is granting themselves an extension to not give it ahead of time in secret to the Trudeau government. Anyway, leave a comment in the comment section down below. Let me know what you think, and we'll see you in the next one. Keep on trucking.